All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's episode of Roundabout Sports, presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media, where our passion is our profession, by Harsh Construction, LLC. Your top solutions to your harsh problems. Be sure to call for a free quote today at 618-363-9818. With over 50 years combined experience in home renovation, landscaping, and repair needs. That is Harsh Construction, LLC. And by our newest sponsor, Krispy Klean Lawn Care, Brush and Junk Removal. Be sure to give them a call today at 593 or 618-593-2997. That is Krispy Klean Lawn Care, Brush and Junk Removal, especially with all these storms we're having, at 618-593-2997. So thank you to all of our proud partners for Roundabout Sports and Interstate 70 Sports Media. It is episode 168. It is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. And I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp, alongside my dear friend and co-host, the one and only Adam Frecks. Adam, how you doing?
What's going on there, buddy? I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited. Good night, man. So there's a lot to talk about this week, and we're fortunate that later on in the show we're gonna have Lucky Moore, who is backstage. He'll be joining us, the CEO of the St. Louis Falcons minor league football team. He'll delve into the team this year, what the league and the team is all about, because I'll be honest, and once we partnered up with them at I-70, a lot of people they were asking me, who are the Falcons? Which is the perfect chance to bring Lucky on and talk about what they're all about. But before we do that, we got some of the usual spiel to go over, and of course, some other hot topics to talk about. With all that said, Roundabout Sports, as always, can be found on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, and all other streaming platforms. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, X, and the Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel, where you can find us, the Blues Fan Forum podcast, the St. STL Hockey Fan podcast, Issues with Wrestling with Christopher Miles and Jared Shannon, which will air tomorrow night live right here on across our socials. So be sure to tune in for that. So absolutely. With all that said, we are coming off the heels of one of the most memorable and fun World Baseball Classic tournaments in a long time. And last night's final between Team Venezuela and Team USA was definitely one for the ages. And it was a complete stunner because for the first time in their history, Team Venezuela won the World Baseball Classic. They took down Team USA 3-2. But at one point, and here's the thing, most of that game, it was all Venezuela. Team USA could not hit the broadside of a barn. Bottom of the eighth, though, Bryce Harper coming through clutch, at least in that moment, with a game-tying mammoth 2-run home run. And at that moment, the crowd's going wild. And, it was a fresh ball game, but Venezuela responded in the top of the ninth. And so this is the thing. Over 4 1/3 innings, the starting pitcher for Team Venezuela, Eduardo Rodriguez, took the mound, and he only allowed 1 hit and 1 walk and struck out 4. 2 of the 4 strikeouts were against Team USA captain Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge finished the night 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And it was just Adam, take me through your thoughts on how this whole World Baseball Classic turned out.
Well, the classic itself was fantastic, man. To see the national attention that the sport of baseball got, because I believe baseball has kind of pulled itself really into a regional sport. Now you have the national spotlight on it, seeing the beauty of the game, having more fans come to it. Now, for those of us who root for USA, the last two games we've been worried about kind of how these bats are going to come around, which sounds crazy with this all-star lineup. And then the game against Venezuela, it just kind of bled over. Then you have
Right.
Judge and Schwarber both having 3 strikeouts in the game, neither of them having hits or any walks. Really, anybody was really kind of struggling to get on base for USA. How they only had 3 hits for the whole night. So it was one of those games they was going to have to claw back, but it almost feels like Venezuela was destined for it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and then once again, in 6 tries, this is their third, or I'm sorry, this is our first in 6 tries as World Baseball Classic champions. And here's the thing. I know, so many of us wanted Team USA to win, but Venezuela this was pure joy because it's so easy to disregard the World Baseball Classic. So, like you said, you talk about how baseball almost has become regional. So it looks like an MLB created entity, to give those easy ratings in. But the players on the field throughout the whole tournament, not just honestly with Venezuela, but with the Dominican Republic, for Canada, Mexico, the United States, Italy, like everyone, you could tell how much this meant. And, the teams on the field, of course, you want to win, but the moment was visibly like just to see how powerful it was for Team Venezuela celebrating. They weren't celebrating because they won a baseball game. They celebrated because they're representing their country, like their home. If Team USA won, they would have done the same thing, and the emotion and the power would have been all the same. Because it's just like at the Olympics when the men's hockey team won the gold medal.
Well, dude, this is where you have to give MLB their credit for kind of creating the WBC. Its initial inception, it had its little bit of fanfare, but it just seemed like a kind of an exhibition game to where it didn't have the luster that it has now. So for them to kind of manufacture that engagement with the sport of baseball, it's really everything that they need. What it gives the availability now for some of these. There's so many baseball players. It gives guys like Michael Garcia the opportunity to become more of a superstar than just kind of a guy who's killer at third base in Kansas City.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a lot of Royals representation in this tournament, and just last night in the final, and on the winning team. Michael Garcia, Salvador Perez.
With just them two, those are, Garcia is a cornerstone player for the Royals, and then, Salvi's a legend in Kansas City.
Right.
For him to catch that last out, it's just, Venezuela. Also, Venezuelans, top tier baseball players, man. Their roster is also stacked.
Very much so. And it was there's so much in a world in which, especially with Venezuela and the United States, with all the political upheaval that's been going on, for them to be able to both teams deliver such a phenomenal game where we could forget about all that's going on and just celebrate. Like if you watch the celebration, it lasted probably an hour. Like the ceremony and everything lasted an hour after the final out. The party was not stopping, and it was fun to watch the whole way through.
Well, it was great to see the production that the WBC got behind being on Fox. Yeah, being on Fox this year. So
Fox, FS1, It was a blast.
So the way that it got pushed, man, it kind of uplifted it to like now the next one's going to be even bigger. Now the United States has lost back-to-back WBC championships, so it gets kind of a little bit bigger and bigger. And then once these really baseball players get more of a name in mainstream, it's going to be even bigger.
And I also wanted to say, we take a look at, we talked about Mikhail Garcia. He was named the MVP of the World Baseball Classic, mind you. He finished the tournament with 10 hits, 7 RBIs, 1 home run, and 3 stolen bases. I mean, and in Major League Baseball, he's only 26 years old. He's already an All-Star and a Gold Glove Award winner. And, we talk about this Royals team that has so many young up-and-coming prospects or prospects, like cornerstone pieces besides Bobby Witt Jr., because obviously Bobby Witt's arguably the best. You could make the argument he's the best player in baseball right now.
Yeah, it's hard for me to give it to him over Judge, but I'll say as far as like
after how that tournament went,
I agree, man. And Judge kind of has that thing on him whenever it becomes, a big moment. Whenever it becomes a big moment, Judge hasn't been able to show up in those moments. So I definitely get it. So it's you can. I'm a Royals fan through and through, so you can talk me into it as far as Bobby Witt being the best player, but I don't think I'm quite there yet.
No, I get it. And Eugenio Suarez with the clutch go ahead, eventually game winning RBI double. It was just the whole thing, and it was up until the very end a competitive game.
Well, and that's all you can ask for is like bring the drama. So then for the United States to tie the game in the 8th, boom, it's back on. We're going into the 9th. Let's see if we get it done. United States is the home team. So yeah, the drama and the storylines were just built in.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Social media exploded when Bryce Harper hit that home run. Yeah. Forget everything else. When Bryce Harper hit that home run, minds were blown. Because
even people were like just watching the game, like you get excited about it. So it's just like that's what sports are for. That's the beautiful moments that we love sports, and that like you're like, yep, this is it. Did it end in them losing? Yes, but for that moment, man, it was great.
I loved it because we took a moment away from sports. Like you said, sports are supposed to take us away from harsh realities of the world and bring us to, this different reality. And it was just such a fun game to watch. And I love that casual fans, ones that aren't even really into Major League Baseball, were tuned in. And whether it was because it was for a specific country, a specific player, or just because they wanted something else to watch. Because I'm not going to lie, if somebody tells me spring training is boring, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
This
is the thing about baseball, man. Unless you're you have to be pretty deep dived in. There's so much,
so many layers.
Yeah, there's so many layers. Like the MLB is just the top layer of just kind of following your favorite team. It's just kind of following the pipelines, and it gets to become a lot. So it's not easy for a casual fan to, I think, kind of invest in as easily as it is football. But we're getting more names out there for casual fans to be able to know.
Well, here's my question for you before we move on. So manager Mark DeRosa for Team USA said that basically more all-star players would be into the World Baseball Classic, and it would have a different feel if it was done either before or after the all-star break.
Right.
I'm going to tell you something right now. This could not have been at a more perfect time.
I agree.
I think it's the perfect warm-up
No,
Like,
I agree.
this is what the NFL wants preseason to be for people. Like, I'm hyped up enough about baseball season starting as it is, but after watching the World Baseball Classic, like, no, I wasn't seeing every single game, but for as many games as I saw and like got into, I'm like, hell yeah, let's get this season started already. Where's opening day?
Well, at the end of the day, it's whatever they can do to promote the MLB within itself. And you have that perfect time before March Madness starts to do this tournament. You get into the middle yeah, during the All-Star break. I mean, I don't think it's going to have that same luster as far as like to be able to catch everybody's attention and to really have all eyes on it. Like this is literally, in my opinion, the perfect time. I've watched a few scenarios where somebody said do it half before, and then kind of do the one-off eliminations after All-Star. And I could see that, but I definitely think it's something that you have to start before or while spring training's intact. That way it gets people hyped up for the MLB season coming up.
Right. And speaking of March Madness, moving on, March Madness is starting shortly, and Missouri has 4 teams. Well, Missouri has 3 teams representing in some form, that being, Mizzou men's basketball, SLU men's basketball, and Missouri State women's basketball. And the Illini in Illinois will be men's and women's representing. KU, of course, representing as well on the Kansas side. What is a team that you are really looking forward to seeing in March Madness?
I'm pulling up the bracket right now. I'll tell you what. I mean, I'll tell you just kind of a regional one that scares me is KU. It feels like one of those one and done type of events, unfortunately. I don't think I don't know, man. It's one of those things where Peterson's gonna have to kind of with Peterson.
They start against Cal Baptist, so
yeah, no, they're gonna win that game. And then I think they potentially can play St. John's that second game on the first weekend.
Right.
What scares me is that it's 2 separate KU teams. The team that's with Darren Peterson and the one that's out. The one without Darren Peterson, a lot of the players are a lot more aggressive. The one with Darren Peterson, just as together, they have it figured out what's the best way to play with them.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunately something that I can see.
I'm a little nervous for SLU. They had a great regular season up until the last week or so, and then they kind of dipped off. And with that, they now are the number 9 seed playing number 8 Georgia. Now, if they beat Georgia, here's the thing: the winner of Georgia plays. Unless Howard has a major upset, the winner of Georgia SLU faces Michigan. And Michigan is number 1. And I'm sorry, Howard, is 16 seed. But Michigan's number 1. SLU facing Michigan would scare me. That's just – and maybe it's just the normal thing of – the top team in the nation, arguably the top team in the nation, one of the top teams in the nation, facing off against, the number 9 seed. But
how is St. Louis this year? You guys produce such a level of basketball talent out of that city and around that area that
so they finished first in the Atlantic 10 this year. They overall they went 28-5. They went 15-3 in the conference. It was at home. It Shea Fits is where they thrived, because they, I believe, finished 19-0 at home. So, and I mean, obviously, in the regular season they went 7-3 on the road, but take out tournament losses and things like that. But anyway, they lost their last game of the season, and they lost on March 14th. They lost to Dayton by 1 point in the Atlantic 10 tournament. So it's where we were at with that. But I mean, I don't know. Dayton also beat them when SLU went to Dayton to face them on February 24th. So I mean, we'll take what we can get, see how it goes, and I know we're going to be covering March Madness a lot more extensively in the weeks to come. But with all of that said, I think it's time now to talk a little bit about the St. Louis Falcons. But unfortunately, you and I can't really do them justice. We can't really just sit here and talk about them because we don't know them as well as the guy we have with us this evening. And we've talked to this gentleman multiple times. Great guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, our featured guest this week on Roundabout Sports, he is the CEO of the St. Louis Falcons football team. And I'm telling you right now, folks, you better buckle up because this is going to be a lot of fun to talk about. So, the one and only Lucky Moore.
Yo, what's going on, man?
How's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's another day getting it.
So, I guess the first question I got to have is, how hyped is this Falcons team for this season?
Last year we came up short from the championship. We lost in the conference finals, so a lot of guys feel like there's a lot of unfinished business.
Do you have quite a bit of guys coming back from last year? Because I noticed that you guys had a hell of a season last year, putting up over 35 points a game and holding teams under 10 points a game.
Yeah, so our defensive core for the most part is the same. We've cleaned up a couple spots. I feel like we lacked in last year, specifically in that conference championship game, and brought in a couple few quarterbacks, and so I'd say probably like 80% returning, 20% brand new.
What's it been like? Kind of building this thing up from the bottom, just kind of getting people to get out in these seats and kind of watching these guys put everything on the line for each other.
Man, it's been like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's been fast. This started as an idea. Honestly, I was just bored. Like, let's just throw a feeler out there for this. And I mean, within 24 hours, a few years ago, I had like over 100 responses and players that wanted to play. So,
really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, in 4 years, we've absolutely blown up. So it's been cool. It's been fun.
Well, I've noticed over here on the KC side, you guys come in and play the Panthers. I believe it's the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I've noticed this league is starting to kind of get a little bit more exposure each year that you guys have started out.
Yeah, so Jimmy's the owner of the CMFL, and he puts a lot of work in behind the scenes that people really don't see. He's not a big social media guy, but even with our media crews with the league, they're busting their butts day in and day out trying to put teams and players in front of everybody, just shining a light on minor league.
I was going to say, how's it feel with the Falcons? If I remember correctly, they came in for the preseason rankings at 6th overall out of 10. I mean, they got, of course, the defending champ Oklahoma Bears in first, and the Kansas City Panthers coming in at second. What do you feel your team is at on par with a lot of the other teams in the league right now?
I try to tell people, and a lot of people aren't going to like this take, but it is what it is. I mean, if you look at ever since we joined the CMFL, we've competed every team we played with. Our first year in this league, our very first game, we drove 4 hours to Joplin to play the back-to-back champs. And it was tie game at halftime, right? You know, they had them like a 40 point difference or something. I think they won by 10. So right then I was kind of like, okay, you know, I might have something here. We finished 5-5. You know, I was just like, there's no way we're a 5-5 team. And, you know, the next year we go 9-3 and drop 50 to 60 a game. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I imagine too, man, with the amount of talent that you guys coming out of St. Louis, that maybe the guys who didn't get a shot at that next level or even college per se, to give them an opportunity. How cool has that been to kind of see? Just kind of you know, at this point, you're building something up in your own community.
Yeah, man, it's fun. Like that's the thing. St. Louis is really a hub, and I'd even say just a greater metro area. It's a hub for D1 talent. I have guys playing semi-pro right now for me, and I couldn't even understand, you know, and I know everybody's there's a lot of people victim of circumstances, but I'm like, why are you even playing this level of football? Like it doesn't make sense. You know, am I saying they're NFL talent? No, but they definitely shouldn't be playing minor league. So that's the biggest thing for me is just showing people like not only is St. Louis big on the NFL stage, D1 stage, even on a minor league level, we're competing. We're putting guys back into college. We've had guys contract in hand for professional arena football. So it's fun. It really is.
I was going to say, you guys arguably have one of, if not the best defense in the league. I look at this, the differential here. I mean, you guys scoring 307 points, but only allowing 64. Like that is elite. I don't care what anyone says. Like that is an elite. I know you guys are, you know, probably really stacked up in the back end with your secondary.
Yeah.
You know, do you feel there was any like weak spot or hole that you needed to fill on the defense, or was it just kind of, you know, running it back with the squad you have and, you know, strengthening up?
You know, for me, you know, and as good as the defense is, I think this is really a testament to how gritty we are of a team. But we had a total of 2 linebackers last year. Like a lot of those guys you see in laying big hits from the linebacker position, those are like safeties and DBs. And, you know, against lower teams, it looks good. But when you break down the film against really good teams, like let's say the Cyclones, the Panthers, who have big running backs that they love contact, you could notice it. And, you know, that's not speaking ill on any of the guys that stepped up to play a position. But when you've been playing DB your whole life and your first time playing linebacker, you're trying to tackle, you know, a 6'2", 220 XD2 linebacker. They're going crazy out there. Yeah, so we brought in some big, good linebackers, young guys, a lot of guys right out of college, a couple straight out of high school. So they look to be good this year.
So I wanted to say, you know, talking about the retaining of the players, you know, we look at your staff. You know, you got Carl Gray as the GM, Michael Berry being your defensive coordinator, Austin Wright, you know, president. Like, how was it being able to put together the entire like staff together, especially in your position as CEO?
Well, so, you know, first was, you know, what I call the infrastructure, and, you know, that's the front office. I have a bunch of great ideas I could put on paper and I can say, let's do this, but, you know, I needed a team. So Austin and Carl really put in a lot of the legwork for me. I don't think that's stressed enough because everyone's just like, yo, Lucky, bro, what you're doing is great. But, bro, I probably wouldn't be anywhere I'm at without them. So they played a big part. They knew most of my coaching staff I have now. They brought them to me, and, you know, they're proven winners. You know, both Mikes, Gardine and Barry, Live for Life coaches, you know, went to state finals, placed second in the state in class, I think they're class 3, 4, I don't know. But just, it's the way they coach. They're hard knock coaches. They don't take nothing back. and they stand on what they say. So it's been fun watching them develop the players the last couple of years.
Awesomeness. Adam, you got anything?
Oh, okay, brother. Yeah. Any like spotlight players you're excited that you brought in this year?
Yeah, so we got a quarterback. Actually, we got a couple quarterbacks. Justin Baker, Brennan Wilson, two completely different styled quarterbacks, but they could probably start on any team in the CMFL, both of them. It's exciting watching them. You know, when you have an offense like ours where, you know, we can rush for 150 yards or we can throw for 300 yards with the receiver playing quarterback, quite literally, and you put an actual seasoned quarterback in there, you notice the slight differences. But I mean, those slight differences can be the difference between scoring 80 and scoring 100. Like, realistically, that's just how it is in minor league. So the quarterback position is going to probably be the best looking upgrade we have. It'll be a lot cleaned up.
Has that been the hardest position to fill over your time since you've started this?
Oh my God, man, I can't stress how annoying it's been with the court. I think in the last 4 years, I've had probably 6 to 7 starting quarterbacks. You know, we found a guy last year, a couple years ago. We were like, okay, this, you know, he's a proven winner, won a state championship at St. Mary's. So we thought he was our long run, and he got really hurt in the Arkansas game. So, yeah, last year, you know, we put up all those points with one of our starting receivers playing quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
what kind of offense was you guys running with that? I'd assume Mike, power heavy.
Yeah, well, you know, surprisingly, Mike does a little bit of everything as offensive coordinator, but like when he turns the swag on, I don't know what it is. Maybe people get him mad. He just airs it out, and when it starts hitting, I'm gonna be honest, he might not throw it 30 plays straight, and he's gonna put up 40 points. So you got to catch him in a certain mood.
I would imagine the players love that too, especially. You know, they kind of feel him turning up his swag. Like, all right, boys, let's go step on their throats.
Hey, you know, when you're scoring touchdowns and you're winning a lot of games, you're gonna have fun doing it. But we're trying to get over that little hump and get the championship with it now.
Well, how do you manage? What's it like to have, you know, two quarterbacks of different styles on the roster, knowing that you honestly, you know, could design the playbook to where you can adapt with those different styles. So you don't have to worry about whether one's just a scrambler or a pocket pass or how they run their offense. If you can kind of evolve and mesh in those styles.
Yeah, I mean, you know, last year we did it. So we, you know, we lost our main quarterback. We had a receiver starting majority, but we also had this other kid named Peyton Hoker, which he's a great quarterback. But again, even in that situation, you got a receiver whose natural tendency is to be athletic and get to the sideline, and then you have a guy like Peyton where he's gonna make receivers look really good because he's gonna put the ball in positions where like there's no way in hell he catches this, and they do because athleticism from our receivers. So, you know, Dre last year, you know, he rushed for like 600, threw for 1,000. Probably threw for 10, 11 touchdowns, rushed for 10. But then when you look at Peyton's stats, he probably rushed 1 and he threw for like 15. So we've done it. But I think this year now we have 2 legit quarterbacks to do it with.
Okay. Yeah. So here's my thing. Do you guys like it? When it comes to how you see the offense over these years, do you feel like you're more successful when it's more run oriented or when it is more of a pass or more balanced, just a little good blend of the two?
I like a balance. I don't say this just because obviously I'm the owner of the team. I'm a true lover of football, and I love good football no matter what level it is. But I do like a balance. You know, we got 2 really good running backs, and they're both tanks. So they're not no speed backs. They're not going to try to outrun you. They're going to try to run through you. And then all the receivers are just fast. You know, I don't know what it is. I got lucky. Like every receiver we have is fast as hell. So, you know, I'm old school too. You know, I like to run the ball a couple times and then bombs over Baghdad, but that's just me. That's just me.
So how does the recruiting process like work for the CMFL usually when it comes to, new players?
So I don't know how other teams go about it. I treat it as a process though, and Austin and Carl will tell you I probably annoy the hell out of them in the off season because like I'm on it. Like I'm a competitive guy, and like I think the key to minor league is, no offense, any of the older guys still playing, but like stop recruiting the older guys because it's watering the talent down. No offense, it is what it is though. There's tons of young talent, so. I get lists. I go on local universities, and I'll go as far back as, we're in 2026. I'll go back to 2023. Who were their seniors each year? Who's local? And then I'm gonna look them up. Are you stalking them? I call it recruiting. But I'm gonna figure out what they've been doing. You've been in the gym, cool. It looked like you're still active. Let me throw you a text. So I keep telling myself, I land that one D1 player, it's gonna unload a flood of players. So that's what I'm reaching for, my first D1 guy.
Has it been kind of an influx of older guys hanging on in the league?
The amount of text I'm going to get from this. But honestly, yeah. A lot of people don't like my ideas, but I think my ideas are going to make minor league as a whole better. You're looking at a fan base, and I'm just being completely realistic. If I wasn't involved in minor league, and you show me a game day flyer with my grandpa Joe as the center, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to come out and pay for a ticket. I'm just being real.
Yeah.
But, you see a local kid, hey, he played at Lift for Life. He went D2. He fell off, but he's back at it. People want to see that. They want to see those stories, the comeback stories, not the, I'm just playing because I'm retired story.
Well, and not only that, the type of brand of football that you want to put on, having these young athletic guys going and putting on a show. So, I mean, no disrespect to the older guys. I'm an old guy myself, but I can't imagine me strapping it up right now. So,
yeah, I live by that. And then you look at scores like, we went 6 hours to Arkansas, and those, I was an older team, a lot of vets. I don't know. Maybe they thought because we were young, it was going to be, let's teach them a lesson. But 40 points later, we went home pretty happy. So the proof's in the pudding.
It's a young man's game too.
Yeah, it is.
It's a young man's game. Unless you got a veteran quarterback back there that can just dissect the defense, it's a young man's game. So
it's a young man's game. I think the next thing I'm really curious about with the CMFL and at least with the Falcons specifically. What truly draws, I mean, obviously the love for the game is right up there,
right,
for one of the reasons. But what is one of the things that you guys feel entices these athletes to, want to try out in this league? It's not one that's very prominent, but it's a lot of fun action. Is that kind of the angle you guys like to also present?
Yeah, for me it's, and I try to base what experience I give other people off experiences I've been through. So I've had the fortunate experience every level I've played, from AAU in Florida to high school. I played for legitimate programs. I played for Zumwalt North, and we went on I think they won the conference championship 12 years in a row. Joe Bacon is a hard knock coach over at Zumwalt North. I played for the Conway Falcons AAU, real prominent elite youth football team. So I've been surrounded by elite organizations. I played Florida ball, a couple years in high school, a couple years out here. So I try to give them a legit experience. Like, I don't use semi-pro at all. I can't stand the term because there's just a stigma that's with it. That people hear semi-pro, they run. We're minor league, and I'm going to give you the closest experience to the NFL that I can possibly give you. Unfortunately, the real issue is St. Louis is what it is. Everybody knows what I mean when I say that. If I could take these guys away from whatever they're doing outside of it, a few hours a week, a whole Saturday every other week, I could be saving a life, whether I know it or not. Mm-hmm. So that's really, I think, what's driving these guys is, let me go do this. Their parents are on board. They're like, oh, you want to go do something productive? Please. Like, I'm talking to grown man's parents regularly because they love what their kids are doing. So I think that's really what it is the experience.
I love that.
It's also one of those things like like you saying you was younger when you was playing. You lose that locker room fit that once you stop playing sports and just and being from an inner city, just like in Kansas City, you can pull these guys in to just like, hey, let's go out for a weekend, let's practice. Let's do all these things. Man, it really goes back to my comment earlier. It's like just making a huge impact on the community and the love of competition.
Yeah, and I can definitely say the community is embraced us with open arms from every angle. Politicians, the local elementary schools, so that's been our goal. Obviously, we want to win games, but we're trying to give an experience that other teams aren't given St. Louis. So
I also do love that, like, you do the community work to me is the biggest thing. And like going out, doing these meet and greets, these watch parties, all these events with the community, so people can meet you guys, get to know the team, the players, and the front office. It's not the thing of it is what I like one of the things I like most about the Falcons is the fact that, you, Austin, Carl, Michael, like everyone is out there. Y'all aren't just, behind clipboards, computers, in an office.
right.
And I'm friends with all of you, on social media, on top of real life. And it's like, we see how active you guys are in strengthening the community and, promoting the team.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's the biggest lack right now in minor league across the nation is just doing the small things. I've seen people host meet and greets, right? In a building full of 100 people, and only 2 of them walk up, and they're like, "Oh, that's a failure." But I'm like, you got to look at it the other side. Maybe not all 100 walked up to you, but I guarantee half of them are now going to say, "Who are the Falcons? What is the Falcons?" They're going to look us up. So it's a lot of people don't see the bigger picture, and they don't see it when it's happening in real time. But then, when you're watching it develop over time, that's when you start, okay, now I'm seeing the difference.
Now, I know the answer to this question because I follow the Falcons. But for those that don't know, when is opening week and the opening game for the St. Louis Falcons?
Oh, yeah. So we got the privilege. April 11th, we're hosting the CMFL opener here in St. Louis. Ladue 5th Grade Center, pending we get a bigger venue because I've had a lot of tickets sold. We are playing the Arkansas Wildcats, so they're trying to come back and get their 40 points back. So tickets are live. You can check. We got the links up on Facebook. Season passes, individual passes. We're doing hard copies this year, so check us out.
All right, Adam. Before
you guys playing Kansas City this year?
Oh yeah, boy, we got to go back to Kansas City. Yeah, University Academy.
I'll make sure we cover that on this part on the Kansas City side, man.
That's going to be a game to cover.
Yeah, so I'll promote it too, especially kind of when you guys are coming here. I'll shoot you for my St. Louis friends for your on the 11th. But yeah, when you come here, man, we'll try to make it a I-70 little party.
Good deal. I'm with it.
Panthers and the Falcons.
And that's going to be what I say is the better of the semi-pro football. That's going to be a good game.
Good deal, man.
All right,
yeah,
before we let you go, one last question: where can everybody find the St. Louis Falcons on social media?
Everywhere. I'm a social media baby. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Type us in on Google. We got a website. We got a couple websites actually. So literally type us in on Google and everything's going to pop up. We're on every major social media platform.
All right, my friend. We can't wait to see you. Remember, folks, April 11th, the home opener and the opening game for your St. Louis Falcons football team.
Yes, sir.
All right, Lucky. You take care, my friend. We know you'll be back, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right. Appreciate it, fellas. You have a good night.
Appreciate
you as well. Lucky Moore, ladies and gentlemen, on Roundabout Sports. Oh, man.
There we go. I'm excited.
What an evening. What an evening.
Excited. You got me
I'm
excited
excited.
for Falcons
See, we were just
football.
talking about being hyped up for baseball. Just talking to Lucky got me hyped up for football. Damn.
Well, man, the
I'm
pure
easy to please. I ain't gonna lie. When it comes to like sports and stuff, it don't take much to get me excited for this.
well, when it comes to like the enjoyment, I can almost feel it radiate off of him for about his organization and minor league
You feel the
football.
passion.
And the community of St. Louis, man. Like at that point, it's like I root for nothing St. Louis. So it makes me like, all right, let's go Falcons.
Right, that's another thing. I do think a lot of it is because of the community like involvement and everything.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time because keep in mind, we cover at I-70, we cover the River Dragons, the Ambush, the Falcons, and a lot of these teams, do all these watch parties. They do all these meet and greets, these community events, and they don't get the amount of attention that, big league professional teams do. But in some ways, they're just as fun, if not more fun.
Well, yeah, it's a lot more like you can immerse yourself into it. And then now like you can almost touch these people. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of have a conversation.
You almost feel like one of them.
Right? Yeah, like they're a part of your community. So it gives the availability to kind of have you feel that attachment to those people. So
absolutely. Well, folks, we're going to wrap it up this week on Roundabout Sports. Before we go, though, of course, we'll talk about our newest sponsor, that being Krispy Klean brush and junk removal, located in Illinois, and they cover the St. Louis metro area. Be sure to call 618-593-2997. That is Krispy Klean Lawn Care. Brush and junk removal, 618-593-2997. And of course, our longtime proud sponsor of Roundabout Sports and I-70 Sports Media, Harsh Construction LLC, solutions for your harsh problems with over 50 years combined experience in home renovation, landscaping, and construction needs. Call for a free quote at 618-363-9818. As always, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pocket Casts, and any and all other streaming platforms you have. Go to Facebook, X, and the official Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel. Folks, I am telling you, it has been blowing up on the YouTube channel as we are approaching 700 subscribers, whereas we entered the week with just 500. It is Wednesday, and I'm telling you, every Tuesday, the Blues Fan Forum podcast, multiple times throughout the week, the STL Hockey Fan podcast, tomorrow night live, the Issues with Wrestling with Christopher Miles and Jared Shannon. They'll be talking about wrestling at the Chase and St. Louis wrestling history. Wednesday nights, of course, you got Adam and I here at Roundabout Sports, and we're, going to do more throughout the week as well. So, and there's more shows that are coming in the future. So be prepared, be excited. And I'm just thankful for all the support. Now, as always, we close the show by putting up the NAMI helpline, and for that, you dial 1-800-950-NAMI, 1-800-950-NAMI. The National Alliance on Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated for people who struggle with issues regarding mental health on a daily basis, as well as their families. And of course, we put up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And for that, you dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 366 on leap years. Understand you're never alone in this world. There's always somebody who loves you, who cares about you, who wants nothing but the best for you. We all go through struggles out there in our daily lives. Your feelings are valid and you matter. You are just a phone call, a text message, an email, an appointment away from what could be that life-saving moment for you. And you could be the listening ears and watchful eyes for someone in need as well. Once again, I want to thank my dear friend Adam Frecks And until next week, folks, I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp, and remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading.